Hey guys, Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and I thought I'd make a video about the departure of the CEO of Electronic Arts. If you guys, I think everybody knows Electronic Arts. They're one of the biggest game developers or publishers out there. They do Battlefield 3, they do SimCity, which is a big story right now. They do FIFA, a lot of sports games actually. EA is a great big company, and I think of them as one of the titans in there. So I was surprised to see their CEO leave. Like, they're not necessarily a shrinking franchise. But they've also had a bunch of huge misses. The Mass Effect 3 ending was this giant story. I don't even know this game. I've never played it. Well, I know the game, of course, but I've never played it. I don't know how it ended, but I do know that everyone who saw the ending hated it. It was like this huge story, and that's not a good thing. SimCity just recently came out, and they put this DRM in there, and I feel for them on that, right? They're trying to get people on PC to actually pay for the games they play, so they put in this, you always have to connect to their servers to play rule into the game. But what happened is, the pirates just circumvented that rule and they can play fine. But the legitimate customers, they got ripped off because the servers were overwhelmed. And internally, they say that wasn't a big deal. They said nobody's dying over it. It was the best SimCity launch that they've ever had, which, by the way, is why the servers were overwhelmed. And I think they've worked past that now. But it's still a big black eye and an embarrassment, and it's not a good thing for the company when people can't play your game on a new release, although more common than you'd guess. So this guy is stepping down. Usually when they step down, they say, I just want to spend more time with their family, but he's different. He's like, look, it's been 5 years. There's been a whole bunch of soft quarters where we didn't meet the targets we were supposed to meet, then I'm going to let someone else run it. The next guy comes in and starts talking about all this transition and stuff, and I'm afraid that EA is going to focus a lot more on mobile than it did before. And mobile games are always like cheap little trinket games, like, I like chess, not Angry Birds. I don't actually like chess, but work with me here, right? Like the AAA titles and even the indie titles I play, like Minecraft, if that's an indie title, they're more complicated and they're deeper. The mobile stuff is so often, like, I don't know, variations of Temple Run, and it's like, please don't just succumb to crappy games, because they're easy way to make money. But I guess if you're a company, that's where you head. The new guy is talking about changing platforms and the importance of mobile and all that stuff, and I'm afraid that means, does it mean that EA is not going to focus on the kind of games that we love? We'll see. I should mention real quick that the guy that I'm worried about running the company and ignoring AAA titles, he's the interim CEO, so it's too early to get all upset about that. The other thing I wanted to talk about was this guy's retirement plan and the psychology of it, because it's interesting to me. It'll be interesting. Hang on. So here's the deal. He's getting paid for the next 2 years. That already is light years better than a regular employee would get, right? When you lose your job, you don't get paid for the next 2 years. That's not what they do. On top of that, he's going to continue to vest in his stock options. That's not how stock options work, right? But what happens is a stock option is this. Say your stock price is at 10. You're following me so far, I'm sure. And then you get a stock option now. You lock that in. You have the ability to buy that stock at $10. If it goes up sometime, in the next 9 years or so, that's how my stock options worked, then you get an instant profit, right? So I got issued these stock options when the stock was at 10. Now the stock's at 20. Boom. Awesome. I buy stock at 10, immediately sell it for 20, and I make all this money. That's how stock options work. Usually when they give them to you, you vest. So they're like, all right, we're going to give you 1,000 stock options, but you don't get access to all of them right now. You don't even really have all 1,000. We're going to give you 200 a year for the next 5 years. That's called vesting. Well, this guy's going to continue to vest for the rest of the year, even though he's not working there, which is not what stock options do, right? Like, the whole point behind the vesting period is that you have to keep working there to get them, and he's going to get them even though he's not working there anymore. And that's a sweetheart deal of a golden parachute. When I initially read this, I thought, that's okay. That's about standard for a CEO. Everything is fine. There's nothing to see here. Everything is cool. No big deal. And then I thought back to this course I had. It was I think it was a psychology course that I had in college. And here's the deal. There was a leader of the union, right? And the union, they call each other brothers. They fight for workers' rights. It's very much like a blue collar kind of organization. And as he was there, like, arguing for union workers' rights against the CEO and the management of a company, the management of the company pointed out, like, look, this guy who runs your union is very much a rich guy. You know, look at the mansion that he's living in. Look at the, you know, kind of salary that he's pulling. You know, he calls you his brother, but in reality, he's not one of you at all. He's more like one of us. It didn't work out like they thought it would at all. What they expected to happen was for union people to be like, hey, what the hell is this? Why is our union leader one of them, right? Why is our union leader so damn wealthy and everything's working out, and, you know, he's like a CEO? What actually happened is they said, yes, this is good. Of course our union leader is like a CEO. He's the equivalent of our CEO. Of course our union leader has, you know, like this giant, you know, mansion and salary and things like that working for him, because we want him to be sort of your social equivalent when he argues with you. And it was like, I guess when you hear that somebody is your better and they're getting these ridiculous sweetheart deals, they're getting paid 2 years after they get fired, they're continuing to vest in options, which are typically something that happens when you're working there, not after you've gotten, no one vests after they're fired, but he does. And I saw it and I thought, well, that's normal, that's no big deal, because in my own head I had this, like, sort of beaten psychology where I just accept that, you know, yeah, this guy is my better and therefore he gets ridiculous deals. What do you say? I bet the same thing happens to you, you know, when you hear that, like, some top guy, you know, gets better healthcare than you, or better golden parachute than you do. You think, yeah, well, you know, of course they do. And it's like, yeah, that's just kind of a normal thing, isn't it? We need to change the world.